This is KSM and welcome to the Personal Development Series. This is a series that I'm dedicating to all you young adults. We're going to start with a very important topic, employment. That is the biggest thing that everywhere you go in this world, we talk about employment. And today I'm going to be focusing on how do you find employment, or how do you find yourself a job in a very competitive market. You know, recently in Ghana, the Immigration Service actually advertised that they were looking for 500 recruits nationwide. Guess what? They got 84,000 applications. Imagine it, 500 openings with 84,000 applications. Now, this is just to let you know of how competitive and how tight the job market has become. And of course, this affects employment. I advise people all the time that when you see a job ad, for example, you see a job listing, an ad listing in the papers or online, anywhere, and when you apply, I advise people that you should safely assume that your application is among, at the very least, 2,000 others. And maybe they are looking for 2 or 3 positions, or maybe 1. How do you compete? And that's what I want to focus on today. You know, that when you're applying for a job, you have to start understanding that you're competing with a whole bunch of people. So you have to be very interested in how do you make yourself stand out. Because you can imagine, if there are 2,000 applicants and you want to be considered, you have to stand out. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today in our first part of this series. And it's all about how you prepare for the job market. Listen to this. Getting a job is a 3-step process. Okay? It's a 3-step process. First of all, you need an effective application letter. And then you need a dynamic CV or resume, and then finally you need to develop strong interview skills. So these are the 3 things, right? Application letter, CV, and interview skills. Now, you have to understand this. Once your application letter is strong and effective, there are so many application letters that are not effective. And people complain all the time about how they send application letters and they don't get the desired response. It's because they are not effective. So today, you're going to learn how you can make your application letter effective. Because even though we have 3 steps, we have the application letter, you have the CV, and you have the interview skills, they are all linked. How? Well, the application letter, if it's very strong, if you have an effective application letter, that will lead whoever is reading it to say, oh, wow, I like this. Let me check the CV or the resume. Okay, so application letter will prompt them, if it's strong enough, to check the CV. And when they look at the CV and the CV is dynamic, that will prompt them to call you in for an interview. And once you've been called in for an interview, you have done 50% of the work. Your leg is halfway through the door. Okay, so the link is an effective application letter, strong one, a dynamic CV, and then strong interview skills. Now, how do you make your application letter effective? This is what we're going to focus on. How do you make your application letter effective? How come so many application letters? Trust me, when I was talking about maybe 2,000 application letters, maybe more than half of that will be thrown away. They just have to deal with maybe 15, 20 of them because there's so much useless application letters that the hiring companies encounter. I mean, the hiring partners. So what is it that will make your application letter strong and effective? There are 3 words I'm going to give you, and please let that stick in your mind because you need these words here. One is brevity. The other one is specificity. And the third one is relevance. Keep these 3 words. If you can have a command and understanding of how to utilize these 3 things, trust me, you're ahead of the game. Brevity, specificity, and relevance. Now let's explain what I've said. You're writing an application letter. First of all, brevity is key, which means make it brief, concise, one page. Your application letter should be a one-pager. Listen, somebody who is sitting down there reviewing thousands of applications does not have time to read a 3-page application letter. So the application letter should be a one-pager. Think about that. Brevity. Okay? Now the second point, specificity, is that your application letter should be specific. Very, very specific. Now, we talk about, you have seen a job ad in the paper. The ad has given you specific information on what they are looking for. They say they're looking for a cameraman, they say they're looking for an editor, or they say they're looking for a sound engineer. But whatever it is they say they are looking for, they are very specific. Okay? Now you want to apply for this specific position. What you have to understand is that focus on that. Be specific. That I saw the ad about this specific position and this is why I'm applying. And then it goes to the third part of relevance. Relevance simply meaning you're going to convince whoever is reading your letter that your education, your experience, everything you have done is relevant to that position. You get me? Your experience, everything you have done is relevant to that position. So you don't need to do any 2-3-page application letters. 1 page, 4 paragraphs. 4 paragraphs. I call them the power paragraphs. When it's readily done, you just need 4 paragraphs. The first paragraph, you simply introduce who you are. Hi, my name is Kweku Sintimisa, and I'm writing in reference to the job that you advertise, so and so and so and so. I just introduce myself, that I'm writing for this position. The second paragraph goes directly to why I'm applying for that position. Because I went to NAFTI, because I went to that, because I did this, because of these things that I've done and the experience I've done, I'm able to apply for this position. Specific. Okay? And the third paragraph goes into the relevance. That is where you indicate that you have an understanding of the position that you are applying for and how relevant your background is to that position. Very, very important. So that's the third part. Show how relevant your understanding of the position and how relevant your background is. Paragraph 4, you simply thank them and you tell them that you have attached your CV, so they should take a look at your CV or resume, and hopefully they can invite you for an interview. That's it. That's it. That whole thing is just 1 pager, 4 paragraphs. Now here's the thing. If you have been brief enough, you have shown brevity. If you have been specific enough to go for the job that they're advertising, if you have shown relevance of how your background is applicable for what they are doing, which means that you can add value to their service because you have a training, you have a background, right? You've shown that. And then in the 4th paragraph, all you do is simply refer them to your CV and tell them that you look forward for an interview. 4 strong paragraphs, that's it. So they look through this, they check the CV, and hopefully it's as dynamic. And then what? They want to call you for an interview.